At NASA's Solar Dynamics Observatory, a silent alert triggered before sunrise. A coronal mass ejection had just left the sun, its wave of charged particles expanding through the vacuum at 700 kilometers per second. The first signs were expected to reach Earth in 18 hours. But within 1 hour, the planet began to tremble. Seismic sensors from Alaska to Chile recorded a rise in ground vibration. The signal appeared everywhere at once, synchronized across hemispheres. No fault line, no epicenter, no source. The Earth moved before the impact. Analysts checked instruments for error. None were found. The readings were real. Magnetic flux had not changed. Solar wind had not yet arrived, but the crust had already answered. Some called it coincidence. Others whispered about resonance, a coupling between solar pressure and terrestrial rhythm. The paradox was clear. Energy cannot arrive before its carrier, yet motion had already begun. Maybe the connection between Sun and Earth is not distance, but coherence. If the ground can feel the storm before light itself, what kind of field joins them beyond cause and time? Solar storms are among the most predictable events in space. Every flare begins with a burst of plasma from the sun's surface. Charged particles accelerate through the solar wind, then strike Earth's magnetic field after a fixed delay. The sequence is simple. Light arrives first, particles second, reaction last. Each step can be measured. Each step obeys distance. When the coronal mass ejection left the sun that morning, the models estimated its arrival at midnight UTC. Ground stations prepared for magnetic disturbance, not for motion. But the motion came first. A global pulse, weak yet synchronized. The crust resonated like an instrument anticipating its own note. Seismologists called it an artifact. The magnetosphere team disagreed. Their monitors showed tiny ripples in the ionospheric layer, a pattern too structured to be noise. It was as if the Earth had inhaled before being touched. In classical physics, forces require contact. Even electromagnetic induction needs change in field intensity, yet no such change occurred. Only the rhythm shifted. Maybe contact is not what moves matter. Maybe recognition is. To understand it, scientists compared past solar events. Minor flares showed faint micro-tremors in the crust, always milliseconds before electromagnetic arrival. The stronger the flare, the earlier the tremor. The timeline bent the wrong way. Data analysts rechecked everything. Clock drift, network delay, seismic calibration, all consistent. The signal was real. One hypothesis linked the vibration to Schumann resonance, the natural electromagnetic heartbeat of the planet. When solar pressure builds, the ionosphere compresses, raising this frequency slightly. That could, in theory, affect seismic sensors. But the amplitude was too high. The crust moved more than the air should allow. A second idea proposed neutrino coupling. Solar flares release countless neutrinos that pass through matter nearly untouched. They travel almost at light speed. If they interact even weakly, they could trigger microdistortions inside solid rock. But neutrino counts remained stable. No burst, no flux, no correlation. Every theory explained part of the signal. None explained the timing. The tremor still came too early. Physics holds sequence, sacred cause, travel, effect. But nature seemed to fold them together. Maybe what we call delay is only the rhythm of awareness itself. Some scientists believe the correlation is illusion. They call it coincidence disguised as cause. With thousands of solar events and millions of tremors, some alignment must occur by chance. If you compare enough noise, you will always find a rhythm. Others disagree. They point to the precision. The timing between solar flares and ground vibration repeats with near mathematical accuracy. Noise does not repeat that way. Randomness does not echo. At the University of Tokyo, a research group analyzed 5 years of data. They found a repeating phase difference. Solar pressure rises. The crust reacts 35 seconds before measurable flux. A time reversal hidden in statistics. The skeptics respond with instrumentation limits. Perhaps global sensors sink through satellite drift, creating false simultaneity. But the offsets were too small. and the same pattern appeared in analog devices isolated from networks. If the system is error-free, then something in the Sun-Earth link transmits faster than the medium allows. One camp calls it electromagnetic resonance. The planet and the star share standing waves that transmit stress through coherence, not through energy. A kind of planetary telepathy field recognizing field. The rival camp rejects that idea. They say correlation is not communication. The fields can oscillate together without exchanging force. Coherence is pattern, not purpose. But the data refuses silence. Each new flare strengthens the alignment. Every tremor repeats the same rhythm, as if the Earth is not reacting, but remembering. Maybe resonance is not a connection, but a shared state of awareness between systems. At NOAA's Space Weather Center, analysts proposed a hybrid view. The Sun emits more than plasma. It releases structured magnetic information. When that structure interacts with Earth's field, the crust responds not through impact, but through synchronization. In that frame, the tremor is not a physical shock. It is a moment of coherence across scales. A planetary breath. Still, the problem remains. Information cannot travel faster than light. But the sequence does. Seismic motion arrives first. Solar wind second. Every model collapses under that order. If effect leads cause, what does cause mean? Maybe the Sun is not sending anything at all. Maybe the two systems are one process observed from different points in time. Then a new event changed everything. In early June, the Sun released a minor flare, far weaker than the ones before. No storm alert was issued. No satellites expected disruption. But minutes later, the seismographs moved again. The same global vibration, precise and repeating. This time, the solar flux data arrived early 3 minutes before the flare's visible signature. The sensors recorded the future. At NASA's Deep Space Network, analysts confirmed it. Light had not yet reached the detectors, yet the instruments had already reacted. The magnetosphere responded before being touched. The paradox deepened. If cause follows effect, then either time bends, or the definition of contact must change. Maybe information moves not through distance, but through coherence. To test it, researchers compared data from Mars and Venus orbiters. Both recorded magnetic disturbances at the same instant as Earth. Different planets, same phase. The entire solar system resonated like a single body. No known physics predicts this. Each world should respond after exposure, not before. But the order reversed. Prediction became reaction. Reaction became memory. The neutrino observatories checked their logs. A faint pulse appeared 90 seconds ahead of the flare. No mechanism explained it. Neutrinos are almost massless, yet even they cannot travel backward. Still, the count rose before the event, as if the future had leaked into the present. Maybe the Sun and Earth share more than light. Maybe they share awareness. When the readings were plotted, the waveforms aligned perfectly: solar radiation, magnetic drift, seismic tremor, each tracing the same curve, offset by time, unified in shape. The scientists called it temporal coherence, a state where systems respond not sequentially, but simultaneously across dimensions of cause. It means that energy can anticipate structure. The field knows before it acts. And if the field knows, then awareness is not a human trait. It is a property of matter itself. But unity brings discomfort. It means distance is illusion, and separation only perspective. Maybe the pulse that moves through the Sun is the same pulse that moves through us. For a moment, the distinction between observer and observed disappeared. The flare erupted. The Earth trembled. And both felt like one gesture, reaching through time to remind us that cause and effect may only be names for the same vibration. After the flare passed, the sensors grew quiet, magnetometers flattened, and the seismographs returned to their steady hum. For a moment, it seemed over. But silence is only the low frequency of another pattern. The Earth had moved with the Sun and then returned to rest. Yet nothing truly stopped. Each atom of the crust still carries the record of motion. Each grain of plasma still holds the shape of the pulse. Maybe energy never ends. It only changes where awareness is placed. In physics, conservation of energy is the law of continuity. Nothing is lost, only rearranged. But the new data adds something deeper. That coherence, not motion, might be the constant. When the fields align, distance disappears. When distance disappears, time becomes geometry. Two systems can act together because they are one equation seen from different sides. If the sun vibrates, the Earth hears it, not through travel, but through belonging. In laboratories, researchers still measure minute tremors that follow each flare. They see them as byproducts. But the rhythm is too exact, the memory too stable. Patterns appear where communication should be impossible. Maybe connection is the baseline of nature, and isolation the illusion that science slowly corrects. Every pulse, every shift in flux is the universe reminding itself of continuity. When we think of awareness, we think of minds. But awareness may exist wherever coherence does. The sun aware of its field. The Earth aware of its orbit. The observer aware of both. Between them flows no message, only recognition. The same recognition that lets two particles entangle, two systems synchronize, two beings feel the same storm. Maybe consciousness is not above matter, but within it. A reflection of structure, remembering its own order. And when that structure becomes perfect, the reflection disappears, because there is no difference left to see. So the flare fades. The data cools. But the link remains, a quiet equation written in the rhythm of light and stone. The storm has passed. The numbers have settled. But calm is only another pattern. The sun turns, and pressure builds again. Seismographs sleep beneath the continents. They wait for the next whisper from above. Each trace of movement will look like coincidence until the same rhythm returns. The space between the planets is not empty. It holds the memory of every vibration ever shared. Light moves through it. Fields breathe through it. And sometimes, awareness crosses it. Maybe that is what the data keeps teaching, that silence is never nothing. It is the structure waiting to resonate again. The sensors will record another flare. The crust will move again. And the pattern will remain impossible. Perhaps the Earth does not respond to the sun. Perhaps the sun and Earth respond to something larger, a coherence that includes them both. In that frame, cause and effect are mirrors, reflecting the same motion across different scales. When the next flare arrives, we will listen again, not for impact, but for recognition. Because every system, from plasma to stone, seems to know when to move together. And the silence that follows is still part of the signal.